Optimism, the only way to supersize your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. I was going to water it down and say optimism is important in building and growing our business. But the truth is, if you don't believe that you can build and grow and supersize your business, nobody else is going to believe it either. And it's not going to happen. We have to be optimistic. Optimism is one of those traits or ways of approaching the world. I guess it's more than a trait. It's a way of approaching the world and approaching life and situations, and growing our business is one of those that we have to have belief in the possibility of it and hope, and then work toward that, or set a goal and work toward that, or it's never going to happen. We're talking about optimism as part of the Be a Better You annual challenge and mental health and well-being today. And it definitely applies to building and growing and supersizing our business. It applies to how we live our life and how we build our life, but to how we run our businesses and how we grow and impact the world too. Now, we can still succeed if we're a pessimist, of course. Anything is possible, but it's a whole lot harder, right? Because we see everything as the end of the world. We see everything as impossible or as a catastrophe, right? And I don't know about you. I haven't been a pessimist. Sometimes I get pessimistic, but I don't think I've considered myself a pessimist probably ever in my life. Maybe when I had chronic illness and I was really sick for a few years, I was in a cycle of ain't it awful and feeling bad because I was in a lot of pain and I had a lot of physical health challenges. But obviously I'm optimistic, or I would not have gotten out of that situation. We have to believe that anything is possible for us, and that the thing that we want is possible for us, in order to take steps and action to move toward that. And that definitely applies to building and growing and supersizing our business. Optimists and optimism expects success. It knows that we're going to figure it out. We use positive language. We take proactive steps. We take action. We don't just sit back and wait for the world to provide for us, because that's not the way the world works. We get what we create. We get what we choose. We get what we focus on and think about and decide we're going to have in our lives and in our businesses. We decide everything and we choose it from these smorgasbord of possibilities, infinite possibilities in the world, right? We decided what kind of business we were going to start. We decided the type of people we wanted to serve. We decided what problems we were going to solve for them, or what types of products and services we were going to offer for them. And does it change over time? Absolutely, positively. As we grow, we have the ability to offer more to the people that we're here to serve on the planet. We all know downer Debbies, or whatever you want to call them, hater herbs. I don't know. I'm just thinking of things off the top of my head. But we all know people that are just, woe is me. They feel sorry for themselves. They bitch, whine, complain, and moan more than they focus on anything that's possible for them. And there are times in our life when we have true hardships and we get a little more pessimistic, but we choose not to stay there. We can feel sorry for ourselves for a while. We can grieve for a while. Like, have you ever gotten laid off? Well, of course. Have you ever gotten fired? Of course. And we feel bad about it, right? But we don't feel bad about it for an extended period of time, because the longer we feel bad about it, the longer we're pessimistic about it, the longer we stay down in those dumps, the harder it is to get out of that cycle. It's like when you have a bad habit. The sooner you quit that bad habit, the less of a hold it has on you. The longer you have a bad habit, usually the harder it is to stop doing that thing, whether it's drinking, tobacco, whatever, overeating. And overeating my whole life. So it's hard to quit overeating. But optimism has been proven scientifically to impact our mental health, as well as our physical health, as well as the results that we get in our life. If you have talked to or ever interviewed anyone else that's been successful, you will know they have a propensity toward believing things are possible, which is optimism. And the reverse is true as well. What are some tools that we can use to enhance optimism? If you're a pessimist right now, don't lose all hope. Guess what? We can choose and change anytime we want. We're going to talk about identity. Can't remember if it's tomorrow or in a couple of days, but we're going to talk about identity and ego and the impact that that has on us. But if you're naturally or raised by pessimists and you think and feel pessimistically, well, you've already started your business. You obviously have a big modicum of optimism in you, or you never would have started your business. If you're a true diehard pessimist, you wouldn't ever step out of your comfort zone. You wouldn't ever, hardly leave your house unless you're, complaining about it the whole time, etc. So what are some ways to enhance your optimism? And when we get into those situations where you're feeling down or negative or like the world is against you, because sometimes we all feel that way, right? When laws change, when tax structures change, when tax laws change, when suppliers come and go, when we run into unethical people in our businesses, etc. Or how many of us have not had almost an entire business stolen from us? If you're out there making big moves, things like that happen to you. How many of you have not had a hater? Haters are the prime example of pessimists, right? They will make up stuff and post it on your social media or on your website just to be an a-hole, right? What's the reason for doing that? It's not about you at all. It never is. It's about them. Remember, people show us exactly who they are. We just have to be willing to see it. And we tend to see what we are. So it's like looking in the mirror. If I am pessimistic, I will see other pessimists and think that's the way the whole world is. If I'm optimistic, I will see other optimists, people succeeding, finding possibilities, doing miraculous things. And once we see the evidence of that, then we know it's possible for us too. But gratitude journaling, how many times have I talked about that in the last 5 years? Affirmations and positive self-talk, extremely powerful for helping us become more optimistic and have possibility thinking. And then surrounding ourselves with positivity. What we think to, what we pay attention to, what we watch, what we listen to, who we listen to, what we read, the groups we belong to, the people we associate with, the organizations we're a part of. Are they positive or negative? Are they making the world a better place or a worse place? And you have to ask yourself, is this in alignment with my core values and goals? And if it is, great, go do it. Be contributing to the world in a negative way. But if it's not, walk away, choose something different. Always choose what's right for you and in alignment with what you're trying to create in the world. All right, that's enough pontificating from me. Go out, make it an awesome day. Love to know your take on this. I challenge the group in Be a Better You annual challenge to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most optimistic, always possibility thinking, as positive and optimistic as you possibly, belief-oriented, infinite possibilities as you can would be a 10. And like I said, sometimes we're a 3 because we had something bad happen and we're just dealing with it. And then most of the time we're a 7. You decide for yourself. But I love taking scales and rating myself and my organizations on different things like this to take the things that are really subjective and make them a little more objective. So I can actually say, okay, well, is this where I want to be? No, I don't want to be a 3. Well, how do I get back to being a 7? And then once I know I'm really usually a 7, how do I get myself to be an 8, a 9, or a 10? Because that's how we really make magic happen in our businesses and in our lives. All right. Love to hear your take on this. Share in the comments below. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with another mental health and well-being topic for this month.